Hi everyone, it's Library Linda, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of Did You Know? Did you know? On May 23rd of 1785, Benjamin Franklin announced his invention of bifocals. He was getting older and having trouble seeing both up close and at a distance, and he got tired of switching between two different pair of glasses. He devised a way to fit both types of lenses into the frame, distance on the top and close-up on the bottom. He referred to these as double spectacles. Did you know, on May 24th of 1543, Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish-born astronomer, published his findings that the sun was the center of our solar system? This went against Ptolemy's theory that the Earth was in the center and not spinning, as the spinning would cause severe wind. His representations that the Earth orbits annually and turns once daily on its axis are called heliocentric or sun-centered. Did you know, on May 24th of 1844, Samuel Morse tapped out the very first telegraph? The message of "What hath God wrought" was sent in a code that was a set of dashes and dots. He tapped it out on an experimental line that ran from the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. to the Alfred Vail Railway Station in Baltimore, Maryland. By 1861, Western Union had transcontinental lines laid. This allowed Union soldiers to communicate with President Lincoln during the Civil War. And one particular Confederate attack failed because soldiers got tangled up in wires that were strung stump to stump. Did you know, on May 24th of 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge finally opened after 14 years of construction? The bridge that was dedicated by President Chester Arthur and New York Governor Grover Cleveland connected New York City to Brooklyn over the East River. John Roebling, who was the architect, designed a series of stone caverns and vaults where the bridge connected with the land. These cavernous vaults were being used as wine cellars as construction continued for another 7 years. They continued to be used as wine cellars until Prohibition, and since then they've been used for other storage and bomb shelters. Did you know, on May 26 of 1977, George Willig climbed to the top of the World Trade Center Tower No. 2? At the time, Tower No. 2 was the third tallest building after the Sears Tower and Tower No. 1. George visited the tower a year earlier so that he could take measurements and build specially designed clamps that would fit into the window washing tracks that would lock into place with the weight of his body. It took him just over 3.5 hours to climb the tower. 2 police officers were lowered in the window washing basket to make sure he wasn't trying to commit suicide, and he was promptly arrested when he reached the top. The city was going to charge him $250,000 for the inconvenience that his stunt caused, but the mayor decided to only charge him $1.10, 1 penny for each story. Did you know, on May 27th of 1931, Paul Kupfer and Auguste Piccard were the first to travel into the stratosphere? Piccard, who was a Swiss physicist and inventor, is the one who created this pressurized gondola that connected to the bottom of a balloon. He was able to study the Earth's atmosphere as he rose to 51,762 feet, almost 10 miles above the surface of the Earth. Did you know, on May 28th of 1953, Walt Disney premiered its very first three-dimensional animated cartoon done in Technicolor? Melody was the first in the series to promote teaching the principles of music. Walt Disney said a series of pictures could be dragging and boring, but the minute you put music behind them, they have life and validity. Did you know, on May 29th of 1953, at 11:30 a.m., that Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay of Nepal became the first to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Mount Everest, which is part of the Himalayas, is the highest point on Earth, which is 29,035 feet in elevation. When Edmund Hillary said, "It is not the mountain we conquer but ourselves," he did so because he had to learn how to pace himself and to push himself to go higher and further. And he had to learn to sleep wearing oxygen. And this extraordinary man also said to us, people do not decide to become extraordinary. They decide to accomplish extraordinary things. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Did You Know? And I hope you try to accomplish something extraordinary. And I hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.